So as you know, but I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. The month before I said that, and I did say that, and I do believe that you shouldn't be able to carry the same kind of weapon that you just said you carried in Afghanistan, that you carried in military service. I do think that military weapons belong on a battlefield, and civilian firearms belong with civilians. And I have no problem with your ability to carry a firearm for self-defense, or to hunt, or to target practice, or to collect, or for whatever reason. But when you have something that's designed and was engineered and sold to militaries for the exclusive purpose of killing people, because it's just so good at it. It wasn't built to do anything else. That high impact, high velocity round, it shreds everything inside to keep the enemy soldier down that you just shot so that he can't get back up and threaten you again. And the month before, a guy with an AK-47 that he legally purchased, but was so disturbing to his mother that when he got the weapon, she called the Allen Police Department and said, "What the hell does my son need with this weapon of war?" And they said, "Ma'am, he's perfectly within his rights to own it, and there's nothing we can do, so good luck." And inspired by Donald Trump and this paranoia that the then president stoked about Mexican Americans and Hispanics and invasions of brown people coming to this country, this guy drove that weapon of war 600 miles from Allen, Texas to El Paso, walked into a Walmart on a Saturday before school started in 2019, and opened fire in a matter of minutes, killed, ended the lives of 23 people, grandparents, moms and dads, kids, and grievously wounded many others. And I got a chance to know so many of those families. I went to so many funerals, I can't remember the number. And I've talked to so many people, even recently, a few weeks ago, who still live in fear, who feel because they are Hispanic. And this man published a manifesto before the shooting and said, "I've come to repel the Hispanic invasion of Texas. These Hispanics are taking over politically." By the way, not unrelated to everything that I just shared with you about the big lie, the insurrection, and the voting laws that we have in the state. So Mexican Americans in my community, understandably, often feel as though they have a target on their back. So that's why I said that. I don't think anyone should own an AR-15 and AK-47, but I recognize full well that the vast majority of those who own them don't plan to use them against anybody else, have not used them against anybody else, and likely will not use them against anyone else. It's just that when they are used against others, in movie theaters, supermarkets, in high schools, in grade schools, they kill at a rate and with an effectiveness and efficiency that's unmatched by any other weapon. That's why I feel the way I do. Now, I know enough to understand that the political possibility of my proposed solution, that there would be not only a ban on selling these kinds of military weapons going forward, but that we would buy back every AR-15 or AK-47 that exists out there, is unlikely. I understand that. But I also understand, and I'm willing to work with you on this if you're willing to work with me, that we could probably do better, and you and I could probably agree on how we could do better than what we have right now. No other country on the planet has the level of gun violence and gun death that America has. And it's not because we are inherently bad or violent or evil. That's not true. It's that we have gun laws in this country that benefit gun manufacturers, benefit the special interest organizations like the NRA, and don't benefit the people whose lives are so often lost to gun violence in this country. So perhaps we could find common ground on universal background checks. Maybe or maybe not, you think that the permitless carry was a bad idea. In fact, our license to carry laws in Texas were something that we could have been proud of. You can carry a firearm in public, we just want you to go through some training. We just want to do a background check to make sure that you're not going to use that against your wife or against somebody in your school or against yourself, because suicide by gun is so common in our communities right now. 6,000 people were denied a license to carry a firearm in Texas last year. That's why so many police officers and police chiefs were against the permitless carry bill that was just passed. So I hear you that you and I sharply disagree on the issue of AR-15s and AK-47s. My hope is that that doesn't have to define what is possible between us, and that instead, whether it's permitless carry, universal background checks, an extreme risk protection order, that we can find some common ground. But I sure do appreciate the fact that you came here, that you said something that you knew was going to be in sharp contrast to what I feel, and that you proved that we can still pull this off, that we can agree and disagree civilly, peacefully, and without resorting to force. So thank you for being here. Thank you.